And I'm here today to tell you about sowing your last. It's a topic I tag sowing your last. See, there is something about when you sow your last. Can I talk to people? Permit me to talk to people. See, leave all these social media pastors, leave all these men of God that tells you that you don't need to sow to prosper, that you don't need to sow to succeed in life, that you don't need to sow to get to the next level. Let me tell you and tell you where I have lived a life of sowing seed. I have lived a life of sowing seed. I was able to buy 5 private jets because of the spirit of sowing that I have. Can I talk to somebody? Can I talk to somebody? I bought 17 G-Wagon within 1 month. It's as a result of sowing. Let me speak to you. Nothing happens in the physical except it first took place in the spiritual. I am a battle that push people to the next level. Hear me and hear me well. I can push you to the next level. Anyhow you move, you move. Anyhow you move, you move. They said the patient dog eats the fattest bone. It is a lie. Let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. You have to sow your last. You have to sow your last. You have to sow your last. I said there is a topic I tag sowing your last. But before I continue, can I tell you something that happened some weeks ago? Can I tell you something that happened some weeks ago? Can I tell you something that took place some weeks ago? Children of God, hear me and hear me good. Hear me and hear me well. Hear me and hear me well. Choristers, hear me and hear me well. Some weeks ago, I was about traveling to the United States of America. I was about traveling to the US. As I entered the airport, as I entered the airport, as I stepped in, I boarded the flight. And we were about to take off. And I told everybody in the plane, I said, everybody, you have to sow $1,000. $1,000. And so people look at me and I said, man of God, what are you saying? My pastor told me I don't need to sow. I said, look at me. There are things that happens in the spiritual before it took place in the physical. And they said some persons began to drop. They began to drop their $1,000. They began to drop their $1,000 right on my feet. And I told them what I can see spiritually, you can't see it physically. People began to rush from the plane and they were dropping it to my feet. I told the pilot, hear me and hear me well. I carried the fire that you can never imagine. Wait, let me finish this before you took off to the air. And the pilot told me, man of God, we walk with time. I said, leave time. My timing is more than your timing. My timing range is more than your timing. And I told the pilot, I said, wait, even you have to sow $1,000. And the people look at me and they began to drop it. 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 After they had dropped it, I said, pilot, move. Pilot, move. Pilot, move. After 1 hour, 30 minutes of being in the air, the pilot shouted. He said, Daddy, he said, man of God, this plane want to crash. Man of God, this plane is about to crash. Brake not work again. Gas don't finish. Fuel don't finish for plane. Everything done your pata. I said, pilot, I told you before. I said, sow a seed. I want to walk with your seed now. I want to walk with your seed now. I want to enter the 7 realms of fire. I want to enter the 7 realms of power. And the pilot looked at me. Everybody said, I believe you, Papa. Everybody shouted, I believe you, Papa. And I began to prophesy. And I began to pray. I entered into the first heavens. I entered into the second heavens. I entered into the third heavens. And the plane was going down, was falling down. And it's about to land and crash. And I prophesied. I said, this plane land inside a big sea. Land inside a big sea. And the plane landed in a big sea. And the plane began to float in water. The plane began to float in water. The plane began to float like a boat. The plane began to float like a boat. That was how we got to our destination. And everybody in the plane came down successfully. No one was injured. Nobody died. The plane did not crash. blade began to float in water. If you hear me, shout, I hear, I hear. Shout, I hear, I hear. Everybody, I told you so in the last. Oh yeah, begin to drop your last seed. Begin to drop your last seed.